Welcome to the BettingPros PGA podcast. I'm Pat Fitzmaurice along with Bo McBrayer. We are off and running with the main part of the PGA Tour season. The Sony Open kicked things off in Hawaii last week, and now the tour returns to the mainland with the American Express in the California desert. We'll give you a full betting preview in just a moment, but first, a quick recap of the Sony. Chris Gotterup wins it. Seemed like we were going to have a shootout on Sunday. There were a lot of players in contention going into the final round, but Chris Gotterup removed a lot of the drama with a terrific final round. This one really wasn't in question. Down the stretch, Gotterup shot a 6 under par 64 to finish 16 under and win by 2 shots over Ryan Gerard, who Bo touted last week and talked me into betting. I know Bo was going to go deeper than just a bet to win. So that was a really good call. 3 spots.
I got three winners, top 5, top 10, top 20.
Beautiful. Nice.
That's what we call a ladder. It would have been nice to get the top rung of that ladder for 80 to 1.
I
but
know, man.
We'll take a win.
So that was a good call. Patrick Rogers finished solo third, 3 shots back. It looks like Chris Gotterup is here to stay. He had an impressive breakthrough season in 2025. He won the Scottish Open, then finished third at the Open Championship the following week. There was some talk that he might be in consideration for a Ryder Cup spot. He didn't make the team, but he's already staking a claim for a spot on the President's Cup team later this year. It's impressive that Gotterup won the Sony because Waialae Country Club wouldn't seem to suit his game. Generally favors accuracy off the tee rather than distance. Gotterup is a bomber. He ranked 7th in driving distance last season and 154th in driving accuracy. He's also outside the top 100 in strokes gained putting, but Gotterup found enough fairways. He's a good wind player, and it was breezy all week in Hawaii. And also Gotterup was really dialed in with the putter. I think it's fair to say that he's a good wind player, after doing well in Scotland last year. And now he conquered the breezy conditions we saw at Waialae. But what did you make of Gotterup's victory and the first PGA Tour event of 2026?
Well, we might classify him as a bomber because of his stats last year. If you look at a macro view of his stats last year, sure, he's a bomber, not the most accurate player off the tee, struggles with putting at the at moments, but the way he finished last season was a totally different profile of a player. This is still a very young player. I believe he's still in his early 20s, tons and tons of talent. And so maybe he's taking that next step where we're seeing improvement year over year or even event over event from Chris Gotterup. And for him to win in a breezy course that doesn't necessarily fit his game style, it just shows that the cream rises to the top. He got hot, and when the wind is up and everybody else is kind of hanging around par, he went nuclear and shot 64 and was a very impressive performance, and I don't think anybody should take Chris Gotterup lightly, no matter where the event is being held. If he's in the field, if he gets hot, or if the breeze picks up, we're looking at a formidable player that can win a tournament.
Yes, indeed. Now, let's get into the American Express preview, where we're probably not going to see a lot of wind in the California desert. This is a unique event. It's a Pro-Am, one of only 2 Pro-Ams on the tour schedule. It's played on 3 different courses, one of 4 events to use multiple venues. It has a giant field, 156 players, and it has a 54-hole cut rather than a 36-hole cut. Everyone plays 1 round at each of the 3 courses. Then the cut makers play the final round of the Pete Dye Stadium course in La Quinta, California. The Pete Dye Stadium course, par 72, 7,210 yards. It's a fairly short course by tour standards. The greens are POA. They're on the small side. Water comes into play on 7 holes, including the 17th, a par 3 with an island green. The rough is pretty tame. It is a Pro-Am after all. They don't want to punish the amateurs too much and make 6 and 7 hour rounds out there. So yeah, the stadium course, pretty easy track by PGA Tour standards, but yet it is still the hardest of the three courses at the American Express. La Quinta Country Club, par 72, measuring only 7,060 yards. Very short course. The par threes are challenging. The par fours and par fives, very birdie friendly. The greens at La Quinta CC are tiny, and they are also POA. The greens are POA on all three courses. So final track, the Nicklaus tournament course, 7,147 yard, par 72. Same story here. Short course, non-penal rough, small greens, some tricky par threes, a lot of easy par fours and par fives. Sepp Straka is the defending Amex champ. He finished 25 under par last year, 2 shots better than Justin Thomas. Nick Dunlap won in 2024 when he finished 29 under par. John Rahm was the Amex champ in 2023. He was minus 27. These scores, you have to go low. The Sepp Straka's 25 under par last year, the highest or the worst winning score of the last 3 years. The weather should be perfect all week. Highs in the low 80s, a lot of sun, light winds. Normally, most of the top players skip the American Express, but this year we're getting one of the best Amex fields we have ever seen. I suspect it's because the Century was canceled this year. That event normally kicks off the main part of the PGA Tour schedule. It's a signature event that draws a lot of the A-listers, but with the Century canceled this year, most of the A-listers skipped the Sony, and now they want to get dialed in before some of the big events on the California swing. Clearly, we're going to need a lot of birdie makers this week. Bo, your thoughts on the American Express and the stat categories you are emphasizing this week?
Birdie or better percentage is number one on my list, and it's very heavily weighted in my model. Proximity on approach, distances between 100 and 150 yards are going to be the vast majority of the approach distances. I'm not looking at maybe approach statistics as a whole, more of the proximity stats, giving themselves opportunities for birdies, opportunities gained, birdies are better gained, and then your general ball striking. And a little bit of a separator stat for this event is par 3 strokes gained on par 3s because of the only difficult holes being par 3s. It's not like they're long or overly complicated. They're just tougher than the par 4s and 5s. And so I'm kind of looking to say, okay, who makes the most birdies and then who also scores well or gains strokes on par 3s. Surprisingly enough, Scottie Scheffler is not even in the top 25 in strokes gained par 3 in this field in my model, which makes it a little interesting for the rest of this field because he's number 1 or top 5 in every other category. But it's going to come down to making tons of birdies. We know Scottie can do that. We know a lot of these guys can do that all the way down this field. We've seen all pretty much top to bottom this entire field of 156 win golf tournaments recently. So I don't think anybody's really out of it, even though Scottie's here.
Yeah, and with Scottie here and with some of the other big names, there's some interesting values at longer odds, and we are gonna get into that very.
I got some wild ones.
Yeah, same here, Bo. You might be able to outflank me on the long shots, but I've got a couple at better, longer than 100 to 1. I'm kind of intrigued by.
It's a teaser.
Yes. Now we will get to the odds for the Amex in just a moment, but first,
track your bets, stay accountable, and level up by downloading the BettingPros app. With Sportsbook Sync, automatically track your bets across all major sportsbooks in one spot. Easily monitor your bet performance by sport and bet type, including game picks, props, and parlays. Create your own custom betting systems to find winning trends and profitable opportunities. New users can get 6 months of BettingPros Premium for free with your first deposit and wager at one of our partner sportsbooks. Learn more at bettingpros.com/premium.
Let's get to the odds. Scottie Scheffler is the favorite at plus 250. Ben Griffin is 18 to 1. Sam Burns and Ludvig Aberg are 20 to 1. Russell Henley and Patrick Cantley are 25 to 1. Robert McIntyre is 28 to 1. Matt Fitzpatrick 30 to 1. Harry Hall and Sepp Straka 35 to 1. Taylor Pendrith 40 to 1. Bo, are we getting any value on Scottie at 2.5 to 1? And is there anyone you especially like from this group other than Scottie?
Well, Scottie, I did find him on DraftKings right now at plus 275. Ooh, big, huge difference there. uh, but yeah, this is going to be, yeah, you can bet on Scottie. Just don't expect much in the way of returns because the odds are so short, but a win's a win. I don't fault anybody for betting Scottie Scheffler because honestly, he does have kind of a 50-50 shot to win here. He's that good. He's that much better than everybody else overall. I think on a week-to-week basis, we can look at guys like Russell Henley, who obviously scores just as well on par three. He's a better par three scorer. He's almost as good at making birdies. He's just not quite the ball striker or putter that Scottie Scheffler is. And that's surprising because Henley is widely regarded as a great putter. Scottie Scheffler figured that out last year, and that's why he's been so dominant. And so I think Russell Henley at 25 to 1 is a great value. For Scottie, I'm going to try to hunt the live betting markets throughout the tournament. If he slips behind after a so-so round on one of these golf courses, you might get a little bit of relief on value there, but I wouldn't expect him at any point to slip more than to 5 to 1. So happy hunting. I think if I'm being a fun bettor where I feel a certain way about maybe a different sporting event, it is championship weekend in the NFL, and I think the Seahawks and Patriots are going to win. So I might parlay Scottie Scheffler's outright win with Patriots and or the Seahawks in a DraftKings parlay. I was able to get a lot better odds parlaying those three legs together, and $20 instead of paying you $50, it could pay you up to 150 to $250, depending on where you land those odds. So have a little fun with it. You're not going to get much win out of value out of a win with Scottie Scheffler, but if you have a strong lean towards something else, by all means, have some fun. This obviously we're playing for money, but we're also playing to have some skin in the game and watch more sports. What's not to like?
I like that you're working in your NFL touts here, Bo.
Hey, I mean,
it's a multi-sport show here. What did I say these greens were, Bo? POA? And you're looking to bet Russell Henley on non-Bermuda greens? What are we doing here?
Well, I mean, he's instead of 10th best on overall or Bermuda, he's 4th best. He's 29th on POA, so that's not bad.
That's not bad. So Scottie skipped this event last year, but he had played in each of the previous 5 seasons. He finished 3rd at the Amex in 2020, but was outside the top 10 the other 4 years. Then again, that was kind of back in the day before Scottie turned into a cyborg. So we can't really hold it against him that he hasn't won here. Ben Griffin is kind of interesting. He finished 7th here last year, 9th in 2024. His strokes gained numbers in this event have been excellent, and he's coming off a 19th place finish at the Sony. Bo, John Rahm called this a putting contest a while ago. And yeah, and if so, Sam Burns, 2 top 10s and 4 top 20s in his last 6 stops at this event, and he's one of the best putters in the world. So he is the guy. If it is in fact a putting contest, I don't mind putting money on Sam Burns in a putting contest. Ludvig Aberg, interesting. He's making his debut here. This is a guy who seems to be at his best on tough courses. I'm not sure we're getting great value on Aberg at 20 to 1 in a tournament that's going to be a birdie fest. Patrick Cantley, he's been pretty good here over the years with 4 top 10s in his last 6 stops at the American Express. California native, seems very comfortable here. Who else? Couple Euros who had good showings at the Sony. Robert Macintyre missed the cut in his only previous American Express, but he's one of the best players in the world now, and very sharp in Hawaii last week. And your guy, Bo, Harry Hall, 6th at the Sony. Could have been even better. I think it was the 10th hole on Sunday where he clonked a tree with his second shot after missing the fairway, and that kind of ruined his chances. Great putter, and Harry Hall ranked 5th in par 3 scoring last year. I think that's an important category in this event since the par 3s are generally the toughest holes on all 3 of these courses. Yeah. And by the way, we've got the defending champ Sepp Straka
Another
who,
year.
yeah, and in his last event, the Hero World Challenge last month, he finished third. So there are some interesting names at the top for sure.
So can I add one more thing on Harry Hall? I was able to get him on DraftKings just now at 45 to 1. So he's in a whole different tier now for pricing. So 35 is good, 45 is even better.
Wow. Yeah, that is. And I mean, you called it, Bo. He is a good player. He can really roll the rock and not a bad ball striker either.
Birdie making machine. Love it.
Yes. All right, let's look at some more of the odds. We've got Harris English, Rasmus Højgaard, Alex Noren, and Kurt Kitayama at 45 to 1. Siwoo Kim, Ricky Fowler, and Michael Thorbjornsen are 50 to 1. Davis Thompson and Minwoo Lee are 55 to 1. Justin Rose, Jason Day, Akshay Bhatia, and Adam Scott 60 to 1. JT Poston is 65 to 1. Wyndham Clark, Daniel Berger, Rico Hoey, Nick Taylor, and Kevin Yu are 70 to 1. And Keith Mitchell, Christian Bezuidenhout, Pearson Coody, Max Grazerman, and Denny McCarthy at 75 to 1. Anyone from this group that you like?
I just have Harry Hall at 45 to 1 in this tier. I like some of the guys in this range. Actually, Akshay Bhatia, again, another guy who fell out of this tier and into the next one. I just got him at 80 to 1 on DraftKings. So Akshay Bhatia, for me, 80 to 1 is very appealing because another guy who can make birdies in bunches and who has over the last couple of years stood toe to toe with the best golfers in the world at bigger events than this one. I think his upside at 80 to 1 right now is great. I'd probably go as short as 65 to 1, which is fine. That's a really intriguing number. And then the rest of these guys are good, but not great. Kevin Yu's interesting at 70. I want to see him a little bit longer. Maybe if he slips to 80 or 90, I'd be on Kevin Yu because, again, birdie making upside. And then Grazerman and McCarthy are okay, but I just don't think they can win in a tournament that Scottie Scheffler's in. That these are guys that kind of fall back a little bit when the competition is better.
We were talking about Siwoo Kim last week, Bo, and you kind of said that you only like betting Siwoo on Pete Dye courses.
Yeah, we got one of them.
We've got the Pete Dye Stadium course, so we've got at least one round, maybe two on a Pete Dye course. Siwoo won here in 2021, finished top 25 in each of the next 3 years after that, Bo. So I'm kind of intrigued by Siwoo on a tournament that's going to be played half on a Pete Dye course. JT Poston, strong record at the American Express. Il Postino has 5 top 25s and 2 top 10s here since 2019, but can he win there? Win here is the question. Might like him for a top 10 or a top 20 bet. Not sure about betting him to win outright. Christian Bezuidenhout, kind of interesting, finished second here in 2024 and played pretty well in a couple of DP World Tour events in December. And Daniel Berger has been pretty solid here in the past and finished 6th last week at the Sony. All right, now let's get to some of these juicy long shots, Bo. Who do you like at 80 to 1 or longer?
So I have a list here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 guys. And starting with, like, I think you like too, Big Fin man, Sami Valimaki.
Yes.
So I think you're looking at 130. I got him at 140. I'm also interested in a top 10 bet, which is plus 800 right now. Sami Valimaki is that perfect combination I'm looking for, where he's a birdie making machine. He's 8th in this field in birdie or better percentage on easy scoring conditions, and he's number 2 in this field by the same metrics for strokes gained par 3. Very interesting. Loads and loads of talent. Not the most consistent player, but this is the kind of birdie fest where Sami Valimaki is just going to let it rip. And the Big Fin is going to be making birdies. Will he have enough firepower to win? Hard to say. Will he have enough firepower to get top 10 and pay off 8 to 1? I think so. Sami Valimaki's great for this tournament. Lee Hodges pops in for me at 170 to 1. Top 20 is plus 380. That's good value. You're going to talk about Luke Clanton too. 250 to 1 is where I got him.
Wow.
Top 20 number is plus 550. I like that top 20 number really well, but because Clanton has got so much upside, very, very inconsistent, erratic player, but he's got enough talent to win. I'll throw $5 on him to win at 250 to 1. What you can't really lose a cup of coffee over that. And then, before you go crazy with your guys here, I'm going to drop Brian Campbell in here because he's ticked us off multiple times by beating us as a super duper long shot that nobody has any business betting Brian Campbell ever, except for the 2 times where he's burnt us on easy golf courses that are birdie fests. And so Brian Campbell is coming in at 2,000 to 1 outright. He has 2 PGA Tour wins, by the way. He's 55 to 1 for a top 10 and 19 to 1 for a top 20. You don't have to invest much in Brian Campbell. Put $1 on each of those bets and just let it ride, because if he's going to burn everybody else that doubts him, we're going to cash in.
He's the little fella who pot geetered us last year. Was it the Mexico Open?
Mm-hmm.
Is that where it was? Yeah. So where he in sudden death had a ball headed for the trees and it spit it out, and he winds up making birdie on that par 5. Yeah, I mean, Campbell's got game except for distance off the tee, and that's not going to kill you in this event because, other than par 5 scoring, distance doesn't mean much at these courses.
7th and birdies are better. Number 1 in par 3 scoring. Number 4 in putting. It's pretty crazy. This guy has almost no ball striking to speak of, but his short game is so good that he makes a ton of birdies.
Yep. Yeah, I dig it. So I like a couple of guys. I mean, I said 80 to 1 or longer. 2 guys who are 80 to 1 or were last I checked. Will Zalatoris. He's had all sorts of problems with his back, but apparently he's healthy now. He finished 15th in a DP World Tour event last month. He's played the Amex 4 times and has 3 top 10s. Seems like a pretty good price for him at 80 to 1 for a guy who's that good a ball striker, because he can hit it close, and you need to hit it close this week. And giving us Ryan Gerard again at 80 to 1, and he almost won last week. Yeah, I can get back on board that. And let me just piggyback on your Sami Valimaki pitch here, Bo, with the big fin. No one pays attention to the fall swing. We know that. But who was red hot during the fall swing? It was Sami Valimaki. Over a 3-week stretch in November, Valimaki finished 2nd at the Worldwide Technology Championship, was 18th at the Butterfield Bermuda Championship, and won the RSM. This guy is a terrific putter. He's good on approach. The weakest part of his game is driving, and that weakness is somewhat mitigated at the Amex because you can leave the driver in the bag for a lot of it.
Right.
You mentioned Luke Clanton. I think that's a guy with a lot of upside at a terrific price. And one more, Bud Cauley, 180 to 1 last I checked. Now, he has not played this event since 2020, but he had 4 top 15 finishes here over a 5-year stretch from 2016 to 2020, including a 3rd and a 4th. Cauley's strokes gain numbers here have been excellent, and he's coming off a pretty solid showing last week at the Sony, where he was 26th. Mm-hmm. All right. Now it's time for the Hard Rock Best Bets of the Week, presented by Hard Rock Bets. If you haven't tried your first bet on Hard Rock Bet, there's still time for you to get $150 in bonus bets. If you win, just place a $5 bet, and if it hits, you get not only your winnings, but also an additional $150 in bonus bets. That's Hard Rock Bet. Download the Hard Rock Bet app and make your first deposit today. Bo, who do you have on your early betting card?
I'm going to save Scotty for live betting and or parlays with football games because I'm a junkie. So Russell Henley, 25 to 1, Harry Hall, 45 to 1, Akshay Bhatia, 80 to 1, Sami Valimaki, 140 to 1 with a top 10 bet at +800. Lee Hodges, 170 to 1, top 20 bet is +380. Luke Clanton 250 to 1. His top 20 bet is plus 550. And then we're going the cheap value ladder on Brian Campbell, 2,000 to 1 outright, 55 to 1 for a top 10 bet, and 19 to 1 for a top 20. Why not?
All right. I'm just going to give my outrights right now. I haven't decided on top 5s or top 10s, but my card starts with a couple of 35 to 1 guys, Sepp Straka and Harry Hall. Siwoo Kim at 50 to 1. I'm banking on that Pete Dye thing, Bo. Ryan Gerard at 80 to 1. Sami Valimaki at 140 to 1. And Bud Cauley at 180 to 1. All right, and now for our one and done competition. Bo kicked off this year's competition by taking Michael Kim last week at the Sony. He tied for 31st, good for $49,898. I took Nick Taylor. He was 13th and earned me $163,041. I am up first this week. This feels cheesy, taking 2 straight defending champions, but I'm going to do it again. I'm going to take Sepp Straka.
Very shrewd of you. I'm gonna go kind of by the horse for the course. I'm expecting a turnaround season to some degree for Patrick Cantley.
Oh, nice. Brennan, kind of a big gun, although Cantley hasn't.
He hasn't been a big gun in years, so I'm just hoping he finds something.
Good point. All right. That's going to do it for this week's Betting Pros PGA podcast. We will be back next week to preview a big one, the Farmers Insurance Open at Torrey Pines. Until then, so long, everyone.